Okay, good day, everyone. Welcome back to our today's lesson on database with access, WAS syllabus level. The past 2 days, the first day we introduced database to everyone. Then the second day, we decided to look more at what a database is and then give some terms on database. Now, when we were giving some terms, we talked about database schema, and then we said the schema is the structure of the database, and we discussed how to go about building a database schema. Then we looked at some key terms on database, terms like primary key, what is a field, what is a record, and so on and so forth. For today's lesson, we're going to start building our database. So what you see right now on your screen is a test database that we are going to build. So for today's lesson, we are going to focus more on how to create tables in Microsoft Access, and then what kinds of field that we can use in these tables. Now, as you can see here, we have our schema that we are going to create a table or a database for. Now, this schema is for a school. So we can say this is school X. We want to create a database for school X. And the different tables that we will need in our database are student table. We need a table to capture all our students. And in that student table, the fields that we are going to have there, we have student ID, which is our primary key, our PK. Why are we using student ID as our primary key? Because we know that every student will have a unique identification number. So student ID is going to be a number that every student will have a unique identification. No two students will have the same number. The moment we register student 1, student 2 is going to be different, even if they have the same name and the same surname. So apart from that, we also have the first name of the student, the last name of the student, the gender of the student, if the student is a male, female, etc., etc. We have the date of birth of the student and the class ID. So this class ID, this FK that we have here, simply stands for foreign key, because later on in subsequent videos and subsequent classes, we're going to look at how to create relationship between tables. So this class ID will serve as our foreign key in our student table. Now, apart from the student table, we also have our classes table, we have our subjects table, we have our teachers table, and we have our enrollment table. This is what we are coming to create our database for. So sit back and then make sure you have, if you have a laptop with you, you can get your laptop so that you can follow along and then practice. I will always encourage that you practice whatever we are doing here today. The more you practice, the better you become. And surely, when these things come in your WAS exam or just for knowledge, you'll be able to excel. So sit back and then enjoy the class. Okay, we've had our access open. Last time, remember, we looked at how to open access. So now we have our access open. Since we are coming to create a school database, we are going to go to blank database. So I'll click on blank database, as you can see. And remember, here is where now we enter our name of our database. So I will just call it my school. So that's the name of my database, my school. I find the location for the database. I want this database to be on my desktop so that I can easily access it whenever I want. And remember, the database file is going to have the file extension .accdb, because that's the file extension for any database file. Then I will click on create. The moment I click on create, you can see that we have a blank database here, a blank database schema. And on this side of the database schema, we have their table 1. Then on this side, we have their our ID, click to add, etc., etc. Now, there are multiple ways in which we can create our table. what I always like to do is always to come, since I have a table 1 here, I'll come to, let's say, design view. So I'll click on view, then I come to design view. When I go to design view, it will ask me to name my table. Now, the first table that we had was a student table. So I will name this student. I will name this one student. Now, when I name this student, let's see what is going to happen. See, instantly, the table that was here, table 1 that was here, is now called student. And what you can see here, this is what you call the design view. Here now, I can get the names of my fields, different names. And remember, we already have our schema here. We say inside student, we are going to have these fields: student ID, first name, last name, the gender, the date of birth, and the class ID. So I'm going to put in these fields. The first field I'm supposed to have is my student ID. So I will write this one, student, and then ID. It's always a good practice that when you are naming your fields, you either do it in this format, wherein the first one starts with a capital letter, then you write it normally. Then, if it's a compound word, the next word you start it also with a capital letter without leaving any space in between them. Or you can just do a shift and then the minus sign to put an underscore so that you see that it's student and then ID. Whichever way that you think you will be able to name your field, you can use that naming structure. But I always like this kind that looks very nice and decent. And if you look around this end also, you can see that our student ID is our primary key. If we don't want it to be our primary key, we can easily click here, and then you see the key that was here is no longer there. But since our student ID should be our primary key, we will put it there so that it becomes our primary key. And what it is an automatic number. So the computer is going to be the one to be generating the student ID for us. So when we are typing the student name, the computer will instantly generate our student ID. So we put it as auto number. That is our data type for student ID. Now the next one, we need to put there our student's first name. So we need first name, last name. So for first name, we put first and then name, you see, like this one. And what is our first name? Our first name, is it a long text? Is it a short text? Remember yesterday what we said. For these text, if it's a short text, it can take a maximum. Look at down this end here where you have field size. It can take a maximum of 255 characters. It cannot take more than 255 characters. So our short text, since it's names, just first name of people, I don't know except the name of that famous man's name, Ogubwebwem, Eluvevem. I don't know what's the name. That is the only one that can have a first name wherein that one is longer than 255 characters. But since this one, we know that most of our names are shorter than 255 characters, we are going to leave it as a short text. So the same thing for our last name. Our last name also is going to be short text. And then we also want to put gender. So our gender, we are now going to determine what is our gender, whether it's a short text, whether it is a yes or no, whether it is a date and time. If I click my drop down arrow, I get other types of data that I can use, all the data that we talked about yesterday. So we can do it as yes or no, we can do it as auto number, we can do it as currency, we can do it as date and time, we can do it as large number, etc. etc. Now for this video, for the purpose of this video, we are not going to do how we can personalize it for it to either be a male or a female. So what we have here is that our gender, we are just going to leave it as a short text. But later on, we are going to edit this table so that you know how to put a specific kind of selection that people can always take. Whether it's a male, they select male. If it's a female, they select female, and then so on and so forth. So since this is the case, we are not going to put any of these ones here. I'm just going to leave this one as a short text. So we leave that as short text. Then apart from that one also, we need to put in another table that is called date of birth and class ID. So I'll put date of birth. Date of birth is not short text. That one is supposed to be date and time. Then I put their class ID. So class ID, I leave that one as short text since it's a foreign key. It does not matter. At the end of the day, this is what we will use to create our field. Now, when I am done like this, I'll click on Control S. So Control plus S, then so you hold down your control and you press S key on your keyboard so that it is saved. Now, since it is saved, I'll come back to my view. Then I go to datasheet view. You can see that all the fields that I created, they are already here. So if I want to input name of a student, let's say for example, I have a student called Jamil as first name, and then Ndao as second name, and the gender of Jamil is male, and the date of birth of Jamil, I can come select Jamil's date of birth. Let's say Jamil was born in January, on the 1st of January 2025. I put that one there. Then I can leave class ID like that. And if I want to go to another one, you see where new is, I come to the next one. I can add another one as Binta. Let's say Binta Baro. That one is a female. And then her date of birth. Let's say Binta was born on, let's say Binta's date of birth was in July, the 3rd of July 2024. So I can also leave this one. And if you notice something, as I am adding my data, the number is increasing because it's an automatic number. From 1, it went to 2. If I do another one here, say I put Claude, you see, it instantly changes to number 3. So that is what automatic number does. So this one here also, I can add characters up to 255 characters. So you can see here, I am entering my data inside here. I can get Claude Tutor as my surname, and then I can say male, and then date of birth I can put I was born yesterday. So you have all these things here. There are other ways in which we can enter data, but later on when we talk about forms, we are going to look at how to enter data in a very smooth and simple way that is more appealing to the eye. But for today, we're just going to learn how to create different tables. So apart from the student table, what is the other table that we have? Always don't forget to be putting your Control S to be saving your work in case there is maybe you are doing it on the desktop and then the electricity goes off, or you are doing it on your laptop and then the battery dies out or anything happens. Always practice Control S, saving your work. Now I have entered 3 data inside here. I'm going to create more tables. If I want to create another table, all I need to do is I come to create, then you can see here table. So if I click on table like this, you see I have another one here, table 1. Then I will just come to view and go to design view. It will ask me to name my table again. So I'm just going to do this very quickly while so just give me some time. Let me just create all these tables very quickly. Yes, so as you can see, we've created all our tables. We have our student table, our classes table, where our fields are, the class ID, class name, year group. We have our enrollment table, we have our subjects table, we have our teachers table. Remember, to create a table, easily just go to create, go to table, then the moment you click on the table, you will have like something like this. Then you go to view and then design view. You save the name of your table. Then after that, now you can be able to get your different fields. So this is the easy way in which we can create a table. If you want to delete a table, the first thing you need to do before you can delete a table, up these tabs here, you see all these tables are open. What we need to do first, if you want to delete a table, say you don't want a particular table again, before you can delete a table, you first need to close these tabs. So I will right click on my mouse, then I click on close. Now after clicking on close, you see that one was not saved, so that's fine. I have here my enrollment table, so I can close this one, also close this one, close this one, close this one, and then close this one. Now, if I want to create a table, remember again, go to table, go to view, go to design view, then get the name of your table. Let's say the name of my table, I say school as the name of my table. Now, if I don't want this particular table here, that's the school table, remember, first thing I do, I have to first close first all these ones that are open. If you don't close it, it's not going to be deleted. Then I can now right click, then I have my options here. What do I want to do with this table? I want to delete this table. So I'm going to delete this one. It gives me a pop-up warning here. It says all these things. Then I'll click on yes. Then that table is no longer there. So if you don't need a table anymore in your database, you can easily delete your table. What I now want you all to do is this: create a table. You can use this one, or maybe your schema that you used the other day, that was the last lesson. You can always go back to that schema, try to create these tables in Access. When you are done creating this table, practice adding fields to your table. When you add fields to your table, think about what is going to be the data type that you are going to use. If you want phone number, you have to put number. If you want just a text, you want to enter names, that short names, you put just short text. Even phone number, you can put short text, as long as it's not more than 255 characters. But if it is now long text, you want someone to write a lot of things, then you know that that one has to be long text. That particular kind of data has to be long text. So always know what your data you can put in. You have all these options of data: short text, long text, number, large number, date and time, currency, auto number, yes or no, that is for Boolean, OLE object, hyperlink, attachment, if you want pictures, calculated, if you want to calculate, lookup wizard. We will talk about what lookup wizard is in our next lesson when we look at data properly. I thank you all for joining today. Hope you enjoy learning Access. Go on, create yourself a table and have fun learning. When we come tomorrow, we are going to do more work on this our table, trying to customize some of our data. And then from there on, we're going to learn how to create a form. So we're going to learn how to create a form for our data. Thank you all for viewing. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment if you have questions. And as I always say, always try to watch the video until the end of the video. Thank you all for your attention, and then see you next time.